joining me to find out the latest is the Australian newspaper's media writer, Sophie Elsworth. Sophie, welcome to the program, and let's start by welcoming all the ABC Drum viewers who have just switched over to Sky News with the news that their program, their 6 p.m. panel program, The Drum, has been cancelled. Now, there will be redundancy, as I understand, and it is no surprise to me why maybe the show has run out of steam. I mean, it was always a hotbed of some fairly bonkers ideas. I just want to play this little classic for you.
What about you? A sourdough or a multigrain?
Is that to me?
Yeah.
I'm just normal white bread.
I think the comment about bread was really, the white bread was really interesting. Who eats white bread in this country? Anglo men. I come from a working class background. We had brown bread because we were healthy.
Sophie, do they know what side their bread is buttered on? What do you make of this one?
Well, James, I will say this firstly. No one wishes people losing their jobs, so that is not a good thing. I don't wish that on anyone in the media. But moving that aside, that was one of the worst programs the ABC had on its channel. The panellists on there are discussing the Prime Minister eating white bread. I mean, get real. Some of the rubbish on there. Last night I was watching and they were talking about, are you offended or does it disturb you when people crunch when they're eating? This is the kind of insane rubbish content that they're producing on that program, and that is what taxpayers are paying for. So it's any wonder this show is axed, and perhaps it's time the ABC took a good hard look at itself, James, and realised why viewers are not watching this rubbish. This is just rubbish content that they're pushing out to viewers and no one's interested, so clearly they're not watching. So I hope this is a wake-up call to the ABC to start producing balanced programs with balanced panels and topics that are obvious interest to the population.
Well, indeed, Sophie, and I understand that Scott Morrison did have a wry sense of humour about that incident there on the drum. Just kidding. Anyway, let's move on, though, to Dubai, where there was a United Nations climate conference, COP28. Well, they dropped the phasing out of oil and gas, much to the lament of the left and the Greenies and many people in the Labour Party, including Chris Bowen, I think. And all they could come to was an actions countries could take to reduce emissions sort of verbiage. This, of course, has been slammed by all the usual folks. But, Sophie, I mean, what did Chris Bowen and his ilk think when they went to Dubai to try and save the planet from the evils, apparently, of fossil fuels?
Well, I wonder how all these politicians from around the world and executives actually got there, given they're trying to save the planet. I'm sure they all flew in on jets and planes, so all the emissions that they're putting out there. But that aside, James, I think actually in all seriousness, this is probably a win for the population who are very concerned about their cost of living, their power bills going up, and what it means with this transition to clean energy and the cost that the transition will bear on households. So while this obviously irritates a lot of the left side of politics, I think general population struggling with cost of living will be breathing a sigh of relief that they will not completely phase out fossil fuels.
Yeah, no, I think you make a really good point there, Sophie, that the end result here actually winds up being a good one for us, even if it's not necessarily for the activists. And I think that's probably correct.